Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today I'm going to be doing some work on the dining room of my big doll's house. That's my 1/12 scale house. And I'm not 100% sure what I'm actually going to get done today. So I've decided I'm going to do this video a bit vloggier so that I don't feel quite so constrained to actually doing a single project. I actually had an idea and then it's changed, but I'll explain a bit more about that as we go along. First off, I'm going to take you over to the doll's house and you can see where I'm at or not, as the case may be. So we're back in the doll's house and this is obviously the dining room. Now, one of the reasons why we are back in the doll's house today is because I've cleaned up the craft room enough that I can actually get the tripod in front of the doll's house. When I moved into the craft room, I had floor space. I soon didn't, and it was getting ridiculous. I couldn't move on my chair again. Well, there's still a lot of junk that needs sorting. When I say junk, it's not junk, it's just things that haven't yet found a home. And I will get there. But I can get back in the doll's house so we can look at the dining room. Now, obviously, this is how the dining room was, green and cream, with my very poor fake wall at the back. That's coming out. That is most definitely coming out. It's only still there because, well, it means I don't lose the door. I have, since the last time I worked on this room, done not a lot. I have, however, got some paint. Now this is called, let me get it the right way round, Ruby Ring, and comes from Wilkinson's in the UK. It's just a house paint tester, and I was hoping that this red would be suitable, and I'm thinking that maybe it is. I've put a patch on there. That is only one coat. Obviously it's going to need more than one coat. It's going to need two. Hopefully no more than two. I don't do paint if it needs more than two coats. Anyway, my current dilemma is whether to go with a red feature wall and then another colour on the rest of the walls, the other two walls. I don't decorate the interior of the doors. I don't like when the doors have got, I don't know if you'll see, I've got lines of paint, whatever. It just looks odd, and you can't put anything too thick to divide them up because obviously they've got to shut against that. And yeah, so that's just going to be painted the colour of the outside. It's actually still painted the colour that the outside used to be because I haven't got that far. Typical me, isn't it? Anyway, I've got this paint. I'm thinking that I like it. I think I'm going to go and buy at least another tester pot to make sure I've got enough. And I'm really leaning towards painting the entire room red. I think the feature wall thing isn't going to work quite so well in here. Anyway, yeah, so the wall's got to come out at the end and that's got to be replaced by a new wall, and I'm going to move the door over far enough to put in some side tables. Now, this, which is currently stored upstairs in the doll's house, is the old side table. And I like it. I like the shape and everything, you know, I like the turning on the legs. But I want two to go either side of the fireplace, and that's going to be too big. So I've been thinking about what I can do with that, and I'm going to go back to the table and show you what I've been thinking about. Back on the table, and we've got a couple of my favourite cheap furniture, some similar to the stuff that's sold in the Dollar Tree in the States, and this is the side table. Now I've used these a few times for various things in a number of projects over the years, and I want to see if I can actually turn these into a slightly smaller side console table, whatever you want to call it. Now, I want to because I want more space for putting things, basically. I want lots of spaces where I can decorate for occasions and things like that. And I actually realised that I've got quite a few of these in reserve. And my plan for today's video was actually to take one of these and to do something with it. Didn't know what I was going to do. And then I thought, well, hang on. Wasn't I thinking about using those in the dining room? Wouldn't it be a good excuse to actually get some work done? Because then I may be able to have the dining room at least functional enough that I can do something with it for, oh, I don't know, Christmas, if not Halloween. So that's what we're doing. We're going to have a look at these, and I may get some more paint on the wall in the dining room. It all depends. Not sure. So these are your basic cheap plain wood furniture. Now again, this is too big. I've got to figure out how much space I've got and how big these can be, because I need to put in a fireplace of some description. I'm not sure if my fireplace is going to be operational or if this one's just going to be used for decor. You know, put some kind of arrangement in the grate where the fire would normally be. Not sure, but I've definitely got to at least give it a go. And then I know these are going to need cutting down, because they are of a similar size, if not actually a little bit bigger than that fancy console table. Now I'm not going to be able to give it fancy legs or fancy, you know, shaping, because I'm going to be tied very much by the basic shape of these. And I can see me having to take a chunk out of the middle that is going to be probably equivalent to the middle drawer. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. And if I do, I do. I've just got to make sure that I cut everything straight or use a lot of wood filler. I think wood filler is going to be my friend on this one. Not going to lie. So I've got those. I've got my dies with the bats and the spider web, which I'm going to be using to try and add some details, some sort of quite spooky, gothic-y, bit OTT details to them. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to have a table with a little tiny bit of the spider web in each corner? I just think that would be awesome. If I can make it work, I'm going to make it work. Don't you know it? Quick update, quite a change of direction, because I've put red paint around the dining room. It needs another coat, definitely on that wall over there. This wall looks a bit better. I'm liking the colour. I've only done around the edge of the back wall because that's where my false wall is going to go, and it's only just in case anything shows through because of dodgy cutting. I know what I'm like. It's just not going to show through as really, really light and really show up. Now I did this because I was trying to figure out my sizings for down here for doing the side tables and how big I needed to make them to make a decent sized chimney breast. Well, I've worked that out, but then I thought, oh well, I'll just throw some paint on and see what it looks like. Thankfully I like it, because there ain't no going back from that. Well, there is, but it's going to take some coverage. The other good news is that and sorry the banging, I've just hit the other door. This one is actually a bit smaller than that one. Well, it's shorter, which I kind of expected because it's cheap, but if I put them back to back, it's actually shorter. So I can get 2 of these into here and still have a reasonable chimney breast and room for the false wall, which is brilliant news. It means I haven't got to cut these up. I am of course going to make them over, and hopefully I will be getting to that soon. But I think I've got to get some spray paint because I think that's going to give me a better finish on the other furniture, and I want them all to be the same black. So they're going to be spray painted, which I don't really like doing. But anyway, I think it's time to have a look at removing those awful drawer pulls and making that look a damn sight more gothic. I am still really distracted with this project. The table is still sat on the desk, and it doesn't want to sit on the desk. And yeah, so what have I been doing instead? I've remade my false wall. Now I've had to make it a little bit different to the ones in the upper part of the house because this is one of the largest rooms and it's taller. So my foam board, which is UK A4 size, isn't big enough. So I've had to make it out of 2 pieces, which is why I've got a lovely join on my fake wall. And how I've dealt with that is on the back, I've attached my extra bits for depth because obviously the wall is not going to go straight back against the other wall. I'll show you why in a moment. And so instead of just putting some pieces like I have done previously, I've used a big piece, which means that I've got strength over that join. Now I will be covering this with some white cardstock that I can then paint over, just to give me a smoother finish. But I've had to make it relatively deep because of the depth of my door, and the door does fit in. Just slide that into place, and then you can see that it's actually considerably deeper than the 1 piece of foam board. 2 is a little bit deeper than it, so it's not going to be bashing against the wall, but the door fits in place. And I think that's going to work. I've left enough space on this side for my side table, which is going to go there, and there is enough space there for the cabinet that I'm going to put on that wall. So I'm making progress, not the progress I intended, but since I started this video, it's sort of been veering all over the place. The next thing I'm going to make while I'm on and got the foam board out is I'm going to make the that way round? Yes, it's that way round. I'm going to make the fake chimney breast. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with the actual chimney, but I'm going to make the chimney breast. I'm going to cut this down in a bit and make a start on that. I want something that looks a bit fancier than my stone fireplace in the attic in Grandmama's workroom. Not 100% sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to make it, and then at least I can sort of start looking at the room. And then I suppose really before I start on the furniture I need to look at the floor. I'm just going around in circles at the moment. Fully intended to do something with this, and it hasn't happened. Although, as I said, I can make them fit at this size, so that is an added bonus. An added bonus I wasn't expecting, so nice one. I still haven't finished the walls. I haven't covered the fake wall, but I have made some progress. I have put together the basic structure of my chimney breast. Now obviously it's going to need a fireplace of some description on the front, but I don't know what I'm doing with that yet. So at the moment I've just got the basic structure. Now I've made this as a very basic box. Front piece, which is the better piece, a couple of side pieces, and then a couple of cross braces inside. There isn't one at the bottom because I will probably be cutting some of this out to allow for a bigger space for the actual fire when we get that far. When I come to that, I will actually be sticking a piece of probably just black card behind it, just to sort of cover up the wall. But this is going to be covered in the cardstock, the same as the fake wall, and then I can paint it. What I'll probably do is cover all of it, but only paint probably about 2/3 of the way down, if that. Just to make sure that I've got plenty for the top, and then the edges will be covered by my fireplace when I figure that one out. But aside from that, I have been working on my floor. Now my previous videos for the witch's workroom and the attic, I think I went into a bit more detail about my floors, but what I do is I start with a piece of cardstock. Now this is the thin cardstock that I've bought for covering the walls. It's 160 GSM, which is the same as that which I put through my printer, but it's bigger sheets. That's why I bought it. It was a reasonable price. It was bigger sheets. It will do nicely. And what I've done is I've cut it to size, and I've also cut out these little notches which are where the door frame goes. Now obviously if you were doing this before fitting your doors, you could make allowances, put the door frame just that little fraction higher so this will go underneath it, whatever. This is one of these things that you have to do when you are renovating, retrofitting a doll's house. So once that it was prepared and fit, I could start actually turning it into a floor. And what I did is I took strips of cereal box, food packaging material. So it's this sort of thin, sometimes called chipboard. It's just a cereal box to me, you know. I actually cut them at a 1/2 inch because I thought then that makes for a 6-inch board, which is quite a nice size. And I painted it. Now obviously I'd stuck all these down first, and that and the paint is why it's a little bit warped. I will hopefully get most of that warp out, and because it's the ground floor I can actually stick it down. I'll just use a little bit of double-sided tape each end to keep the edges down. What I did to paint it is I used well, I took advantage of this paint that has been giving me grief with my 1/48 scale build, the fact that it's not very pigmented. It doesn't build up colour very quickly. I started off with a coat of the black, and then I used the soft grey, which is actually the darkest of the 3 greys that I've been using. And I did a couple of coats of that, and now I put it on with a sponge, and I put it on wiping everything in the direction that I wanted the wood grain to go. I have not done the effect of wood grain in this wood because I want it to look polished, and I figure I don't need big indents for it, so I just sort of what's-it it about a little bit. Not a perfect finish, but I didn't want a perfect finish. I didn't want a perfectly smooth coloured finish. There's a few marks where there was glue. That is not a problem because I'm going to finish this with a coat of matte Mod Podge. Again, I will be putting it on in the direction that I want the wood grain to go, to look like that's, but I'm hoping that it'll just give it enough shine that it'll look like a nice, well kept, well loved wooden floor. That's my plan. And I'm quite pleased. The room is starting to look like a room again. It's starting to look like a room that in not too long I could actually use for something, which is what I wanted, which is brilliant. So I'm going to Mod Podge this. I'm going to get the cardstock out, and I'm finally going to put the cardstock on the fake wall. And then I might even get some more paint on the fake walls. So hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to actually have a dining room that is starting to look like a dining room. And then next time I work on it, I can go on to some of the more fun stuff. This is brilliant. I'm really pleased. I think I said in a video earlier this year that I really needed a room that I could actually dress up, that I could dress for the seasons, that I could dress for the holidays, that I could just play with. And I was really hoping that I could have it done by the end of the summer, so that when it comes to Halloween and Christmas, I can actually use it to show off my pieces. It looks like I'm going to be able to do that, and that is great. I am absolutely over the moon about that, so I better get on with it. I was hoping to get the room finished in this video, but it's been taking a while, and I don't think it's going to happen. I have, however, put the room together temporarily, just so that you can see kind of how it looks. The fake chimney here has had its cardboard and a coat of paint, and it fits in quite nicely. And if I just grab this, these actually fit either side really, really well. The floor hasn't been flattened properly yet. I am fortunate in that I can actually stick this floor down in this room, because no wiring has to go through for the room below. So if it doesn't flatten out, that's what I'll be doing. I will be getting this hedge here and I will be taping it down just to keep it where I want it to be. Obviously, I need another coat of paint. I'm debating what to do with the doors. The bare wood looks far too pale with the red, especially when you can see it actually against the red, which you can't really do with this one quite so well. I'm sorry about the camera focusing in and out on my hand as I move it round. Been thinking about the fireplace. That'll probably be next. Obviously, second coat of paint, maybe a third if it needs it, we shall see. But I'm liking it. I'm liking the combination of the red and the dark floor, and I think the black furniture is going to look pretty good against it. I did actually put some black furniture in here. Not the furniture that will be going in here, because that isn't done, but I put another piece of black furniture in there and it looks pretty damn good. But yeah, I'm getting there. Not quite as far as I would have liked. There's been a lot going on around here and I've not been getting much time to work on the doll's house. Always the way, isn't it? When you're ready to work on something and nothing goes to plan. But such is life. If you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope that you have, please like, comment, subscribe, etc. Ring the notification bell by all means. That should tell you when I put up a new video, which at the moment isn't to a schedule. But I'm trying, I really am. and I'm probably going to start a part 2 for this one once I finish this. So that'll be something to look forward to. We'll get this room together and hopefully do some work on those tables, because those tables were what started it. But until next time, bye.